So how was the quarantine life? How was everything going on with that as an artist?
At first, it was like immediate panic. Like, what am I gonna do? I lost all my jobs. You know, but very quickly we all realized that it was going to be very uncertain for everyone. So there's either just be in the uncertain mindset or
Yeah.
just enjoy the the downtime, I guess, and just, discover those creative passions that we wouldn't normally have the time to do. So, I mean, that's where I'm at. I've like kind of overturned from being panicked and not having a job to, developing a skill and then turning around on the other side doing something totally different. So it's been really wild.
Yeah, I've talked to a few artists the last few months, and they all pretty much have the same feeling where they have no idea where this is going. Like from a creative side, for whether they're musicians or actors, they have no idea what's going to happen next few months. So whatever you have going on, just hope things get better on that end.
No,
Do you want to start off by just telling people who you are, what you do,
sure.
just so that people get an idea of who you are?
Yeah, so my name's Lynea D'Aprix. It's hard to pick just one thing, what I like to title
Yeah.
myself. I guess first and foremost, I'm a dance choreographer, dance teacher. I also do photography, modeling, event planning. I'm the head coordinator of the Salt City Dance Festival. Um, Advertising, marketer. Yeah, I like being an all well-rounded artist.
What would you say is your main thing that you've been doing the last few years?
Last few years, definitely dance. Dance has been top priority because I graduated from college with my BFA in dance and immediately got hired for the Syracuse City Ballet. And they're amazing. Like, they're so talented. And that's kind of pushed me and pushed the Syracuse dance community. It was our first year starting the Salt City Dance Festival last year with my partner, Sarah Walter. Just two kids graduated out of college wanting to do something in their hometown, and now it's kind of become this really big event. So that's mostly what I've been doing the past couple of years.
Um, how is the dance community here? Like, is it something that um, when you started, has it already been like a successful thing here, or did you have to like kickstart a lot of it? Because I know nothing about the dance community in Syracuse or an area here. What's that like?
It's mostly, well, it was, I want to say it was mostly dance studios for younger kids, which is great for the younger kids. But as a professional, like, I lived here, I went away for college, and I came back, because I got to move in with the parents right after college was
Yeah.
over. And, I happened to land that job that I was like, okay, I'm going to stay here for a while. And, sorry.
All right.
And just kind of realized very quickly that if I wanted to do anything professional here, I was gonna have to do it myself.
All right.
It's not really like anything offered. There are a few people here and there that are doing some sort of adult dance, but it was very limited. But since doing the Salt City Dance Festival, I was able to reach out to tons of people in the area and get them to all collectively come into one location for it.
What type of dance do you focus on?
I'm a modern dancer, which typically to people who don't know dance, nobody really knows what that is.
So what is that? Because I don't know what that is either.
Even for dancers, it's very hard to explain. There's a lot of different modern techniques and
Okay.
styles, but I would say it's like ballet, but with less edges, less kind of structured technique to it. So your toes don't have to be perfectly pointed. It's very abstract and artistic. I love telling stories with my dance. Those kinds of things. I do know how to do everything else. Honestly, I actually started Syracuse in Heels, which is a heels dance group.
Yeah.
For women, like hip hop, things like that. So I do a lot, but I love modern.
Isn't that the case with a lot of dancers though? Like a lot of them focus on one thing, but when you see them dance something else, or you talk to them about it, they've danced everything, so they know a lot of other dances beside the one that they specialize on. Um, like how difficult is that? Like, is that something that every dancer should be able to know, or is it something that only people that are, want to learn everything go about it? Like, how does that work?
I think now is mandatory, like hands down. Because if you're a dancer, if you're a performer, you have to be able to do many things, unless you just get hired for one company and they only do that thing. And that happens not that often, especially around here. Typically, professional dancers have to be bouncing back and forth between a lot of auditions, and those can range from like you're doing Broadway style one day, and then you're doing like weird abstract, like even though like I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a need at this point, and honestly, in the city, most people say like if you're dancing, you better be acting and you better be singing too. So
Right.
yeah, just I
Yeah,
mean, just
it's really interesting because I watched some dancing shows. Lately, I've been watching the World of Dance TV show,
yeah. Oh my God,
and
it's crazy. That's like
it's
crazy.
crazy to see some of the dancers there that are like temporary dancers, or I don't know exactly what the terminology of their dances are, but like they show a lot of emotion in their dance, and it's like they're performing like they could say like it's a story to it, you know what I mean? And it just makes it really, it connects with you in a very emotional level.
Yeah.
um is that a lot of what modern dancing is basically trying to connect emotionally with the audience and actually tell a story in everything you do?
A lot of things do. When I say that kind of hesitantly because I feel like, at least in my personal opinion, dance is split into two worlds. You have a commercial world for TV, for competitions, those kinds of like in your face things. And then you have modern companies that are, I guess you could think of it this way. If you're talking about art, you have posters like graphic designs make, and then you have things that goes in museums. And one isn't better than the other. Both are needed, but commercial dance is kind of the posters, and
Right.
museum is like kind of modern raw dance. And so I love World of Dance because it's just crazy. The talent is like baffling, but I wouldn't say that's not a fantastic representation of all kinds of dance, because it is so extreme to that level where people, just ridiculously good.
Yeah, I think you have to like audition beforehand for them, right? Like they have to know you're
Yeah.
really good before you even come on to audition for the first part.
Oh my God.
um
There's at least 100 auditions before, and they're rigorous too. Like,
yeah.
because so you think you can dance that? I know people that have auditioned for it, and I mean, you're dancing at like 1 in the morning trying to audition for these
Jeez.
things. It's very, very rigorous.
Oh man, that's hard. I've did you see there was a couple from was it from Buffalo that were there this season? And
Really?
yeah. I think they got eliminated last in the last episode. But they made it like two or three rounds
That's really
on
cool.
there. That's pretty cool. That was actually
Yeah.
once they there's another one from New York from I think it was from PA, but it's close to us here.
Yeah.
He's the one who went through. Like they danced against each other, and their style is very similar. And they ended up the guy from PA ended up going through, and they didn't make it. But it's really cool to see all kinds of dance now. That a few years ago, the only show that I remember was going on is So You Think You Can Dance, right? The only one that actually accepted more than just one style of dance.
Yeah.
Um, how many like how would someone who actually like has a passion for dancing and essentially knows how to dance or is a great dancer, what other careers beside like stage dance, like is there any other opportunities that people will be able to take advantage of?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you can be a performer and you can dance, that's really the ultimate goal, is to be into a company. That's like kind of the dream, to be in a company
Yeah.
that like teaches you dance, rehearses dance, and then performs everywhere. But there's also things like residencies in college where you teach dancers, and being a dance teacher can range from just like teaching,
Yeah.
preschoolers how to move, and so people love that, right? Having that connection with dance and little kids. And then there's people that love teaching college and really advanced levels of dance. Outside of that, there's dance journalism, there's dance administrating, event coordination, like what I'm doing, like bringing dance into communities, those kinds of things. So I mean, it has a lot more things to it than I think people really realize, because when I first said I'm going to college for dance, everybody's like, why would you do that?
No future there. Come on, nursing or teaching.
Yeah, but I mean, you realize there's so much more to it than really what people think.
Yeah, I think I have had similar experience in that I when I decided to go to school for filmmaking, and people were like, why? Like, I work in the bank, and so like people were like, why aren't you like doing IT or or accounting or something that's gonna like get you somewhere in that company you work for? But I felt like I had to do something like for my passion. Like I wanted to learn something about what I want to do, even if I never make it like in a big way where I'm making a ton of money just from that. I want to be able to like know that I try to pursue something that I love,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think that's what a lot of people miss, and when they're try to go for something for college, for education wise, they try to go for something that would make them money instead of something that would make them happy,
Yeah.
um, but it's cool to see other artists around here that are actually doing something different, and then you have so many talents, man. You're like photographer, dancer. How did you said the photography thing just became a passion, and now you're doing it more? What's so interesting to you about photography? What is the thing that grabs your attention about photography?
Yeah, so what I was telling you off recording was that I've modeled for 10 years now, and I'm kind of just coming on the other side of the camera to work as a photographer, and I've had really amazing opportunities lately. And the passion has always been there, kind of like I tell people all the time when they're trying to find their passion and what they really love to do, what you're saying, what makes them happy, is like you look back into your life and you find these little puzzle pieces of like what makes sense, what are you loving, what are you attracted to, what's kind of constantly come up in your life, even in small ways, and put those pieces together. And I feel like photography has definitely been one of those things for me. I just really had never had the time or the money to buy a camera, college student at that time,
Yeah.
to do it. And I also didn't really have a belief in myself that I could do it either. I always thought, I've only been a model, I should stay on this side. But I've been through enough workshops where I've been the model for people learning how to do photography, and I've been watching and I've been listening, I've been paying
Yeah.
attention. And so I have a lot of the knowledge, but now it's kind of just putting it into the actual skill. And that's going to be really exciting too. I'm putting together another event. I think I haven't totally named it yet, but I think I'm going to name it the Upstate Model Convention. So I'm going to be putting a workshop event together, training models how to pose, all the stuff, because it's a whole thing, and inviting some photographers in there too. So I'm kind of just digging through and seeing what feels good, what am I liking, and how to continue going through it.
You said you've modeled for 10 years. Have you what age have you started doing that? Like when did you take off professionally, start doing it?
15. I was 15. I was at an event. So it was this volunteer event that my mom dragged me to at the time. And it was for empowering little girls that were in like foster care. And they asked me if I would be willing to dance for them, to just do a little show. And they had a whole little events. They got to do their makeup and their photography and stuff like that. So I was just kind of one of the event. After I had danced, the photographer at the time came up to me and was like, can we please take pictures together? I would love to. Always wanted to take pictures of a dancer. And it turned into this like massive wave of me just doing a crap ton of photography and modeling, dance first, and then it gradually turned into just, high fashion stuff. And Syracuse is a small world, so as soon as somebody's like, oh, this girl kind of is good, you get passed around very quickly.
Yeah.
So I've been really fortunate. I've worked with almost every photographer in Syracuse, I would say.
Have you moved to the city or somewhere else? Have you thought about it? You probably haven't.
I definitely have thought about it. That was my plan. As soon as I graduated college, I was like, I'm going to California. I'm going to LA. Like, I wanted to get out of here, right? But then I got this amazing job at Syracuse City Ballet. I mean, I cannot tell you how awesome it was. Coming out right from the gate, they offered me tons of money to be able to be a teacher there. And I was like, well, my parents are here anyway. And I'm like, I'll just stay for a year and then I'll head out to California, which is hilarious. Because as soon as I got in, I'm like, there's so much talent here in Syracuse. It's just not many people bringing others together. And I gradually became that person.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm stuck here, but right now I have a very good community.
Yeah, as long as you're comfortable, you know what I mean. That's what matters. Because if you're not comfortable, then you're gonna find somewhere else to be.
I think the other thing too is I've seen a lot of people that I knew that had so much talent. They moved down to the city to do this, and then they end up working regular jobs so much to try to pay their rent that they don't get the opportunity to work on their art anymore.
Right.
And I feel like Syracuse actually provides us with the opportunity. It doesn't cost that much to live here. We can have a lot of free space, a lot of cool areas around here, and the more free time to work on our art. So I'm glad that I did stay here, especially in the kind of formative years of me starting my artist career.
Right. It's funny because I talked to a film producer a couple of weeks ago, and he said something really cool that I find relate a little bit to you too. Is you rather be? It's like, well, I don't know. Probably gonna mess it up, but he basically said you rather be a bigger fish in a smaller town than a smaller fish in a bigger town. So that's
Not wrong.
right. So and I that's probably gonna stay with me for the rest of my life because that's a really great way to look at trying to move somewhere where you'd make it, especially in our in entertainment business or even modeling. When you go somewhere and there's a lot of competition, you're gonna fight harder, and not to say that you're not gonna make it, but like there's so many people that are so talented trying to do the same thing you do. So and a lot of it is just by luck that they make it. You know what I mean? Just because there's a lot of competition.
Exactly.
So it's better to stay put as long as you're comfortable and you're building a community, like you said, and making connections. You can go work a weekend in New York City or LA and come back.
I mean, I'm actually planning that next week. I had a model reach out to me in New York City asking me to come down to take pictures of her.
There you go. Yeah.
Sure, you're a couple hours. I mean, if you're willing to work as hard as the people that are in, for example, New York City, in a small town, you will go much further than you are in the big town. It's not, you can't just lay back and be easy about it. But if you are that forward thinker, like, gotta get out in there, gotta be working with people, you will go much farther in the smaller community. And also, there's a huge mission of people wanting to bring people to Syracuse, giving them reason to be here. And if we don't start, then nothing will ever come of it. So
exactly, yeah.
That's just how I feel about the situation.
Have you you say you do acting too, right? You're an actor?
Yes.
Is that something that you just started doing, or is it something that you've been doing for a while, or is it stage acting, or is it film acting?
Yeah, so I started in high school, like pretty much how everybody
Right.
does, doing summer plays and things like that. And then I really loved it a lot. I did a lot of community things. So when I went to school and I got my BFA in dance, I also, just popped in and did my minor in theater, and that actually went pretty far. I did a lot of things when I was there. I got a lot of really cool projects, a lot of stage work typically in that time, because as a dance major, I didn't really have a lot of time to do much else. So stage was good, but I couldn't really ever tap into film, but I've always wanted to be in film stuff. So when I got to Syracuse and I started getting the momentum of talking to people, I had a script that I had wrote, and got to put that into real life, grab some people with camera. But it's kind of like the build your own table thing, right? I was never invited to a table, so I just built my own. So I just got into the film acting that way. It's just by doing it myself. And then from there, I've done, little shorts here and there. I would obviously love to do a lot more.
Yeah.
But, waiting on the right people.
Yeah, I think the area here, it's unfortunate because a lot of people work in groups. And if you're not part of that group, then they're not gonna call you. You're gonna have to fight your way through to get there.
Yeah, it's freaking. I've worked as a PA a lot, on the side. I'm like, give me it.
What'd you say?
I've worked as a PA a lot. I've worked as a lot of extras.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
I have my creeping. I won't be my way in there. You just wait. Just be patient.
It's I told you before, I'll definitely keep you in mind. So when I have anything going on, I'll let you know. That goes. But I've seen you there. You sent me a video a few weeks ago with you dancing. Was it a music video? Was it a short film? What was it?
Yeah. So that was thankfully the first thing I ever put together. I directed, choreographed, produced, did everything. I made the costumes. I made the set. I made the dance. I danced in it. So everything was my projects, and I have a million more of those ideas. I just I can't.
I'll put it in the description for people that don't know what I'm talking about, that we can go and check it out and watch it.
Yeah,
that was really cool. I watched it, I'm like, that's pretty neat, and it had a lot of artistic and the shots that you guys did. That was really cool.
Yeah, the one of me coming out of the sand.
Yeah.
I told the person to take the video, I was like, okay, so I want you to bury my face in the sand and I'm gonna come out. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, yes, you are. It'll be worth it, I promise. I mean, it was terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. I had to do it a lot of times to get through. I had sand in my ears and my nose for ever. But it was worth it. Cool aspect.
Do you have any stories from as a model that just are embarrassing or just hilarious that you think of now? I'm sure there's a million of them, but what some of them that sticks out?
Well, the first one that I immediately comes, there's two that immediately come to mind. The first was I was in this super awesome blue dress, and we had a little mini trampoline, and I was going to jump up and down and do a whole bunch of dance poses in this field of flowers, and I'm like, it's such a beautiful field of flowers, it's so yellow and gorgeous, it'll be perfect. And we get in there, and there were more bees in that field than I think I have literally ever seen in my entire life. And the photographer's like, oh, maybe we need to move locations, and I'm like, no, we are gonna do this. We're gonna get this done. So when I tell you I was jumping on that trampoline 100 miles an hour to try to get pictures,
oh my god,
not get stung by bees. I mean, it was wild. But we got some beautiful shots. And
did you look scared as hell in those pictures? Did you look terrified?
No, I surprisingly look calm. I'll send you one of them. That and another one that I was doing, people love for me to jump, right? I'm a dancer, I can jump. So I was in heels and a super tiny skirt, and I had balloons and a bright pink wig on, and they were like, can you jump so it looks like you're floating? And so we did that a bunch of times, and it was cool, but there was this one little, it was like a column, like a broken piece of stone, and they were like, can we do it up there? Can we get you to climb up there? And I'm really adventurous, right? So I'm like, yeah, I got this. So I climbed all the way up on this thing. It's at least 6 to 8 feet tall, right? It took me a while to get up there. And I get on, and I thought it was bigger, looking down, thinking I could handle it. But it's this big of a square that I'm standing on in 6-inch heels. And they're like, okay, now jump. And again, very terrifying, but we got great shots. So, you know,
Man, there's a lot of stunt work. They have to have like a stunt double for you guys to do this stuff.
I don't know. Some people wouldn't do it. I thought it was awesome. I'm like, this is gonna make a good story. You know, I almost fell off, but I didn't. So it was awesome. But yeah, I mean, lots of fun time. Photographers are super cool. They're always really quirky personalities. So
Have you met anyone that was like grumpy during the shoot, or just not having a good day, where things just didn't go right and start cussing at you, or just cussing at himself, or messing it up? Oh, you froze. Hold on. You're still there? Hold on.
Hired like 3 models to come along. I think like there was just one dude that made like everyone mad there. He was just really passionate about wanting to take the shots, but just was not able to take the shot, you know? So he's having me bend upside down. So I'm like doing a back bend, which I can really only hold for so long before all the blood is in my head. And I'm not kidding when I say he literally asked me to do it a good 50 times. And it's like, I'm getting kind of upset at this point because I'm like, I'm not getting paid enough to be upside down this long. And everybody, all the other photographers were waiting to get their turn. He was the first, you know, and so by the time he was done, it was like an hour later. I was not able to do it any longer for any of the other photographers to get the shot. So everybody was a little salty that day. But yeah, I had like a gigantic migraine after. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh man, that's gotta I mean, you gotta be always like on point for as far as photographers go, right? Like you can't like get too angry or too. I'm sure there's a lot. I'm not saying you are, but I'm sure there's a lot of drama queens as far as like models go. Like I want this way or that way. Do you see that often with models, especially now that you're teaching? You know what I mean? So you see a different side of it. You see like all these young kids that have attitude, or how does that go? Like, is the stigma in the right place there?
Yeah. You try really hard to just like let it go, in one ear out the other, so it doesn't affect you. But like there are definitely some, I don't know, it was almost like a macho thing, like I've got to be better than you. So we're on a set and there's a couple models. Sometimes it's a very competitive vibe, which I just don't like at all. Like we can all be thriving here. So if I get that, the judgmental, that or the stubbornness, I have a hard time dealing with that, because if I've been hired as like a pose instructor sometimes. So not the model, but just someone on the side that's telling the model how to pose. And say, for example, you get a model that's like listening to you, but just refusing to listen to your advice when you've been hired to be the pose instructor. You're like, turn your head, and they're just looking right at you. I mean, that's frustrating, but I just, like I said, I just try to let it bounce right off of me, because that's their problem, not mine.
Oh, man. How is the model life now with the COVID thing? Has it taken a hit? Are people still working?
They're starting to get there, right? Like, especially the far away photo shoots and more one-on-ones. I know some photographers are still not comfortable. I think it's more or less just working with people that are comfortable with still going out of their house. Maybe they're not as immune deficient or whatever, but still a lot of people hesitant. When I've been doing photo shoots, I'm keeping a good distance away from people for the most part, that solid zoom in. Yeah. But I think it'll recover quickly, honestly. People always want and need photos, whether it's for business or whether it's just for portfolio. I was just at an event the other day. Kane Lee, he works for Glass Slipper. Amazing, like, wedding dresses and crazy amazing suits, and there was a lot of models there. We're trying to he started to try a brand ambassador program that we all kind of auditioned for, so it's like there's still stuff, but you have to sign in. They're like, I'm going to call you 2 weeks ahead of time. I'm going to check your temperature before you come in. And so it's safe.
That's good. That's good. That's a good measurement, right? They're actually at least taking it serious instead of,
Yeah.
you know, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
How is the photography on that end though? Do you get a lot of, beside like modeling, do you do any other events beside that for photography?
Yeah. So something that I'm kind of stepping into now is like product photography. Thankfully, that's something that you don't need people to be around,
Yeah.
right? So I'm having, like, right now it's just local businesses. I'm trying to branch out to other businesses, send me their products, whether that's shirts, clothes, makeup, literally anything I can take a picture of, food items,
Yeah.
product photography, and send it out to them. That's a really nice way to keep things going during COVID because it's not necessarily in person. I love product photography. Making like normal things look really beautiful or cool is like, I'm about that.
Have you thought about doing weddings?
I have, but I feel like that's a little above me at this point. It probably
I
at
mean,
some
like
point.
level wise, or is it like above you as far as what though?
I think I could do it, but I definitely do not have enough equipment. Like that takes a lot. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of like lights and multiple like cameras set up at different places. That's a big hand. I think probably like in a year, I would love to start investing in doing those things because really that's where the money is in
I'm gonna
photography.
say, yeah, weddings, man, weddings, but probably not a good idea now anyway to do weddings, but
I'll hone in those skills and then we'll come back to it.
right. Because I was gonna say, like the wedding industry now is taking a big hit this summer. There's
Oh
nothing
yeah.
happening. Everybody's postponing until next year here.
I know. It's sad. It's sad. I've seen a lot of my friends spend so much money and then not, not being able to do anything with it. My friend, she had a gigantic floral arrangement be delivered to her and she couldn't cancel it, so she just got a crap ton of flowers everywhere.
Oh my god! So she lost the money. She has the flowers and now and she's not getting any money back. Holy shit!
It's sad. It's really sad, but I mean, you can't really do anything about it. There's so much uncertainty, like you said before. People just don't want to take the risk. I've seen, actually, I think, I don't know, I can't remember her name right now, but I know someone that I follow on Facebook. She's a photographer, and she got, what is the thing where you are allowed to marry people? She got that done for
Oh,
a certain.
yeah, I don't know what it's called. I don't know what you're talking about though.
So she got that certification and she's been doing like private weddings. So she is, getting them married and she's taking all their photos. And so
Yeah, getting creative there with her business.
yeah.
Wow.
So she's been really killing it in that way because people want to get married, they don't want to postpone, but what can you do?
I mean, yeah, I know a couple of people that pushed their wedding to next year too, and I wonder if they're getting like any money back from their, you know
Like
what
the
I
venue.
mean? Yeah, from the venues. Like
I have no idea. You
that'd
would
be
think
a
that they would
huge loss of money, huh?
you would think that they would have to, or at least some sort of discount for next year. I don't
I
know.
don't know, man. That just sounds like a lot of, and it's nobody's fault. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy circumstance right now.
Yeah. Then you think about all the kids that like don't get a graduation either. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. I mean, being younger too and not getting that experience, I think that would really mess up a lot of kids. I'm sure there's a lot of hurt going on.
I've seen some
Wedding.
town that like put the people that graduate, like the kids pictures like all across like the road so you can see who's graduating, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool. I mean that was a cool gesture. Yeah.
Yeah, I have someone that's graduating across the way. He's got like all the posters and everything. So people are like, every time they drive by, they honk a horn. So I was like, I'm
Yeah,
constantly hearing, the honks. He deserves it, right? You work really hard. You're in college or in high school for a long time to not be
yeah.
able to the end is really sad.
It is very, but I guess it's a life moment, right? Where not everything goes as planned. So take this as a lesson that nothing is predictable. Something could happen at any moment where you're gonna have to reshuffle everything and try to figure it out.
It's very true, and I hope parents are being as diligent with that lesson because I'm sure it's hard to be negative, but I think there's been a lot of cool things that people have done. I think the artists are like really kind of thriving in this environment
Yeah.
because we're be creative, and that's what we're good at. So
Yeah.
I know, again, another one of my photographer friends, she's been giving graduation headshots for free just to try
Oh,
to
that's
like give.
cool.
And I think that's really neat too.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
trying to. Me and Mike have been trying to, which because we started this podcast like in 2017. We did a couple episodes. We were just bored at that point. We had to do something. We did a couple episodes, and how it started basically, we were gonna go to businesses and actually like have conversation with the owners there, and it'll be like more of a like unique businesses. Like we went to a VR place, arcade VR, and we sat down with the owner. We talked to him for a while, which was really cool. I think they shut down now, but but it was a new store, new idea for the community. So we went. It was in Binghamton, so we went there and interviewed them, and we did a couple other businesses. But it was just how it started, and we just stopped because we had films and other stuff that was going on, so we didn't have time to do that. But since COVID, we're like, you know what? Why don't we just go back again? There are a lot of artists just staying home right now, and and it's just at least reach out to people that are talented and try to get them to talk to them and just have something for people that are staying home to listen to and watch, and that's what we've been doing for the last month and a half, just talking to people.
That's so cool. I mean, I really appreciate that, and thank you for having me on here.
Yeah. I've never actually talked to a dancer, and I didn't realize you had that many talents until I talked to him. Like, wow, that's really cool. Like you have all these talents, and it's good to have different areas you can jump into when you need to.
Yeah, I agree. I was just talking to somebody yesterday, just like I have a strong love for creative stuff, and I have a strong love for business and entrepreneurship, and I've just been trying to meld those
Blend them
things
together.
Yeah, it's hard for me to just pick one thing and stick with that. I mean, I wish I could. It'd be a lot easier, but
yeah. What are the advice you would give to somebody who's wants to model at this environment right now, especially if they're young, since you're starting? What would the advice say? Something you've done, you wish you've done different. What would you say to them to avoid or to do?
Yeah. Well, I would immediately say get a following on social media, like 100%. That was the biggest thing for my career, is learning all about algorithm, how to get more followers, what that whole life was. So I was in a network marketing company for 3 years, and I really established that. Like, I won a trip to Ireland and all this stuff for being a good salesperson and social media person. And I took a step back from it and just kind of went away from the social media scene for a while, and I'm kind of coming back now with new pages, and that's kind of hurting me a little bit because I don't have as much followers. So like, I'm trying to apply for a lot of brand ambassadors, a lot of sponsors and stuff, but that can be really limited if you only have a certain amount of followers. So like, learn social media throughout everything, and also practice yourself. Like, if you can't get a photographer to take pictures of you, take 100 pictures of yourself. So that way you're like learning your best angles. Even if you're not a great photographer, if you learn how to pose, what looks best, that's really the best thing you can do. That and don't spend too much money on people trying to train you. Like, there are, like, this workshop that I'm going to be put together, I spent a lot of money. My parents too, when I was young, spent a lot of money me doing all these huge events. Take the important stuff and then move from there. Oh, am I losing you?
Yeah, I lost you there for a second. Hold on. I got you now.
Where did I leave off on?
Uh, you you were saying about you spent a lot of money. Your parents
Yeah.
spent a lot of money.
Yes. I mean, it's very easy in the industry to see like important people that put out tons of workshops, and you go and take you tons of these workshops and you get promising career opportunities from them. It's not always true. It's very important to do your research on who you're going to be training with and make sure that your money is actually worth something. Because starting out as a model, a lot of the time you have to pay money. It's not something that you always get to just naturally jump into. I mean, sometimes that does happen, thankfully. But you have to do things like headshots and comp cards, and those are not free. Try to find trades with photographers, but it's not always easy to find.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy with social media though? Because you mentioned something about that. Like, if you don't have enough followers, that hinders a lot of your work, right? Like, you can't get a lot of work if you don't have a lot of social media.
Yeah.
How this is just baffles me, and because a lot of the actual Instagram, what do you call them? What do you
Like
call the Instagram people? Instagram people,
influencer.
influencers. There you go. Yeah, the Instagram influencers. A lot of those, I don't know for certain, but I've seen a lot of those pictures. They're altered. They're not even real pictures.
Yeah.
So like, and they have ton of followers. Like, I have millions of followers, and like 90% of their pictures are not them. Um, how is that? Like, first of all, how is that even ethical to do that? Second of all, why would companies go with that as a model for them to like pay people money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
It is all a very weird world, right? Because I had my personal account. I had been working the marketing job, so I've been kind of working on my followers. I had like over 2,000 followers, which is pretty decent, right? And then I was like, I don't want to be seeing a whole bunch of random people that I don't know on my Instagram. So I recreated a new Instagram that I was going to consider my professional one, where I only follow the people I want to follow. And so I had like 2,000 on this one of like a bunch of randos, and then like 200, 300 on this one of really quality people. And I applied for a sponsorship and I got the sponsorship, but they would only allow me to post on my personal, where I had 2,000 of garbage followers
Yep.
versus 300 really quality followers, just because of the number. And it's really deceiving too, because people can buy followers. So I mean, it's very confusing.
All right, so this is an interesting topic for me now, because I've always I've seen like articles and people talk about it, but I haven't really paid attention to it because I don't know anybody from the inside, or you know what I mean. But you obviously know a lot more than me as far as this goes. Like, how does that work? Like, first of all, you said you got a sponsorship. How would a person go about that, and what does that even mean? Do they pay you depending on how many people like and look at your pictures, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's really different for everybody, honestly, because it depends if it's a one-time sponsor, which may just, could just give you product for free if you post about it, which is sometimes nice if you want cool clothes.
Yeah.
Or sometimes like they'll pay you to be posting once, they'll pay you to post every other month, or they'll pay you to post weekly. Someone I know, she's a model, she has like 20 sponsors, right? She's like, all of her posts are lined up getting paid. But 10 out of 10 times you have to be approached. It's not really something that you can seek out. There are opportunities, like if you're really lucky that you happen to find something, like I said, Glass Slipper, and Whiskey Jack Glass Slipper, they just put out this audition, right, to be a brand ambassador. And, I just happened to stumble upon it, thankfully, but it's very hard to find those things. So typically it's like businesses take time to find people that have a lot of followers and then reach out to them. And I know that because I was one of those people doing that for businesses.
And they just and it's mostly like brands, right? Like other clothes or makeup or something, and they send you like their products so you can model with, right? And
Yeah,
then
that
And then you get paid depending on how many people like it? Is it like a...
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes, because there's a situation where, for example, you have two people that are sponsoring or being sponsored, right? They post their thing. If this person gets, 1,000,000 likes on theirs and this person only gets 500, that person's going to be making more money. But again, it really depends on the business. And this isn't even just with clothing lines too. It's even gyms. My boyfriend, he's Justin Robillard. He's a bodybuilder, and so he's like got pictures of him in every gym in Syracuse.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. What if like the people that are posting, they're posting like fake pictures? How would you know they're real? You don't know, right? Like the companies don't know. You just see the followers.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's a very weird world, right? Like we see the highlights of everybody. We don't really ever see anything else that goes on in the background. I like TikTok more. I don't know if you're on TikTok, because I feel like that's kind of a different vibe. People are not as afraid to kind of show the not so perfect side of them.
And there are videos there, right? Like in TikTok,
Yeah.
not pictures.
Yeah, it's only videos, which, I mean, I guess you could make look really fake.
Yeah, you have to work a lot to get a video.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do that, I'll applaud you for it. If you work like hours just to get that, your body look perfect in that, and just then that you earn that money. You already put that work on it.
Yeah, I think there's really a better platform. It's like more real people on that platform.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure if you Reddit a lot, if you use Reddit, but there is you do?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I'm a Reddit too.
Little bits in here.
Yeah, there was a subreddit that basically they try to find people that are, I think it's called Insta reality, where they go and try to find people that are, Instagram influencers.
They catch them in real life.
Yeah, they grab like pictures of, they're trying to find people that are on Instagram that are frauds basically, and they take the picture that they posted and they try to debunk it, like actually go in and figure out like this is fake, this is what she really looks like in real life, and this is her.
Calling people out.
Like, I know, and I'm like, what? And I couldn't believe it. A lot of them are like literally influencers, so they make money from those pictures and from whatever product that they're trying to make money out of, and it's just crazy to see like how many of them are fake.
It's a culture of making people feel like they're not good enough, so they have to buy the products, right? It's like these people with picture perfect faces. There's no pores, there's no acne, so buy this product. This is what I use, regardless of what their actual face looks like.
Right.
That or the swimsuit body. You gotta buy my swimsuits because it makes you look better, or you gotta buy my workout shake because this is how I lost all this weight, and that's what it is just commercializing people feeling like crap about themselves.
It's crazy, and I feel like it's gotten way worse. Like there's always been, advertisement will always fake, in that regards. But like I think last few years it became like so much worse. What do you think? Like, why do you think people do? I know it's money, right? Like it's all driven by money. But when do you think it switched to where it became like everyone knows? Obviously, everyone knows now that it's fake, but it's just they still think it's fake, but they still buy into it. Why do you think? When do you think that switch changed? Like that people just didn't care anymore and just followed it anyway.
I think people are just always looking for people to look up to, some kind of goal. If people are unhappy with their lives, they want to see things that give them the idea of happiness, the feelings of happiness. Like that's why we watch movies, right? Like maybe people were not necessarily thrilled with our lives, so we tune into the TV or we watch a movie or we scroll through Instagram a whole bunch because it's just visual stimulation, right, to see beautiful things. I think everybody's just naturally inclined in doing that, and even if people think it's fake, they still want it anyway. You know, that's just kind
Crazy.
of where, especially in America, people just want. Even if they've gotten the latest and the greatest, they still are looking for what's coming next. And I think that's just, for some reason, naturally how we are in this country.
I think it's crazy, and I think you're right. You're 100% right. And I've seen this show on Netflix. I can't remember exactly what it's called. The name just I can't remember. But they basically were investigating makeup, the fake. There's some of them that are fake, you know what I mean, and they brand them in a way that looks like it's the real thing, or in a high quality makeup, and it just people know. They show that the people know that there's like a 90% chance that this is fake. This is gonna hurt my skin, but they still go with it.
Oh yeah, skincare especially. If they put garbage in a fancy bottle, people will pay $100 for it, and like that's just the way it is. People
I don't
like beauty.
understand. I watched and I'm like, and they interview people that actually bought the fake ones, even though they knew that it could hurt them. You know what I mean? Like it's, when I say the fake one, it's still expensive, even though it's not. You know what I mean? But it's still not as expensive as the the really fancy ones. But there's still money that you pay for, knowing that there's a chance this is gonna hurt your face. And they interviewed the person. She's like, well, yeah, I knew, but
Well aware.
but it's still as expensive than the other one, and there's a chance it's gonna make me look pretty. And it's just at that point, like, what do you do to actually help these people? Like, what do you do to actually to fix it? It's a big issue, you know what I mean? Especially where nobody's helping with the Instagram, where people like posting fake stuff, and like, how do you go about that?
I think that like people have a really strong hold to brand obsession. If a popular name, it's kind of like going back to the influencers. Like if an influencer says this is really great, you need this, a lot of people are like, yes, it's really great, we need this. It's very like that, where that sheep mindset of gotta get it because this person says it's good. It's all about kind of trusting who you're following, the people that you look up to. If they say something's good, you want to believe it. And the I don't know. I mean, like, there's like the people that make shoes, like sneakers. They come out with the most ridiculous looking sneakers that are $1 million, but people want them because it has the name like Jordan's behind it. You know?
I don't understand it either. I have nothing against people that collect, and there's a lot of collectors out there, and you know, I mean, if that's your passion, that's great. But like,
either, right? I mean, like, I could get the same shirt at Walmart that I do at another, and I'm not ashamed of that, right? Like,
I'm not ashamed either. I don't. I think I've only once or twice that I shopped somewhere where, like, I paid a lot of money for, you know what I mean, for a jacket or whatever. But most of the time, if a shirt looks good, it looks good. Doesn't matter where you get it from, right? Like, doesn't matter how much it was or.
Like, workout clothes cracks me up because people will spend so much money on workout clothes, like something that you're gonna sweat and be gross in.
Right.
Like, that baffles me. But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with products too. Like today, I did a photo shoot. I just went to the dollar store and I was like, what can I find in the dollar store? And I grabbed like a basket and like these little fake flowers, and it turned out really beautiful. But I'm like you. I don't agree with people just blowing money on unnecessary things, especially if it's something that's not good.
I don't know what's going on. It's getting worse.
Weird world. I don't know how we got
it's really weird. I don't understand it. And I work in Ithaca. And there is a shoe store right next, like a block away from where I work. And once in a while, in the cold, sometimes in the heart of winter, I'd walk by to go to 8 in the morning to go to work, and there would be people lined up, stayed overnight for a pair of shoes, and I'm like, what? And they're like, granted, most of them are kids, like college kids. See, they look younger and. Which is great. That's what they want to do, is spend the night in the cold. And they're all in blankets, and they have like sleeping bags, and there's a big line there, just people waiting for the shop to open so they can get a collector's sneakers. and,
Right?
and I'm like, man, like I don't know. And one of the times I didn't know what it was because I just walked by those people like lined up. I'm like, what's going on? And when I went to work, like I asked a couple people there, they're like, oh no, they're just waiting for shoes. What the hell? People are waiting overnight for shoes. That's crazy.
Black Friday, right? Everybody's like
Yeah.
beating each other up over the TV.
I see those videos and I don't understand how people can
Yeah.
just beat each other for.
All right, crazy people. Like you enjoyed that TV. I really hope it was worth, the dehumanization of people.
Wow.
It's very
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy times there. And it's hopefully the Corona thing brings more of the good in people than bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's making good people better and worse people worse.
Yeah, it's I think
You
I'm
know,
glad that our community, at least like the whole upstate New York here and the whole area here, is they actually we did a great job of containing everything. I think so. Like you know what I mean. In general, I'm sure you're gonna find your little small section of people that just want to cause chaos and don't want to wear a mask outside. And why should I wear a
yeah,
mask outside? Because it's my right. But I think for the most part, people are trying to look out for each other. I think.
yeah, and there's a handful of people that are really going out of their way to make sure that that's true. I mean, there's so much chaos, but I've had difficult conversations with people too about these things. Just super older generation sitting across from a table and they're yelling at everything that's going on, right? But just
Yeah.
having those conversations, and when people say like what's going on with COVID or what's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement, it's just my only advice is that you have to look internally, like work on things in your own home, and
Yeah.
then look at the community, your neighbors, and the state. It's just, I think people are so focused on everyone else. Like we need
Yeah.
to look internally in order to really combat some of these really crazy things that are going on right now. I
Yeah.
can't do anything about my neighbor, but I can make sure that I'm wearing a mask when I go out in public, and I can make sure that I'm spreading positive things about Black Lives Matter, even if my next door neighbor doesn't, right? I can only worry about myself. So, but there's a lot of craziness going on.
Yeah, I think just people need to start listening to each other. I think is what it is. And so don't be selfish about when you listen to people. Don't think about it about yourself. Try to think about what the other person is saying, and if
Yeah,
they're hurt about something, listen to that. And it's I think that's what the world as a whole needs, just to listen.
yeah, I agree. I
Um,
think we need more of that anyway, like just in
yeah,
regular daily life.
yes, and do not follow Instagram people. That's something that
Moral of this podcast.
moral of the whole episode today is do not follow the people on Instagram.
Yes.
I mean, follow some people, not all of them, but if they look weird, like if they don't look like they're human, just don't follow them. Like
Vera.
the curve, and if like the curve is like this, like just stop. That's not them. You know what I mean? That's just not their body. That's not their. And I think the world will be a better place with people. Once those people are gone, I think the world will be a better place again.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
came
I
back.
think Instagram is gonna block me from everything right now after they hear this. I'm just sharing on everybody that posts weird and fake pictures.
Okay.
Oh man, well I appreciate you coming over and talking to me. This is great. This has been a great
A little bit of everything.
a little
But
bit of everything. I've always wanted to talk to somebody about the Instagram thing because I don't know anything about it, and I think you give me some insight at least on how it works as far as people making money, and a lot of them make like a lot of money out of this, right? Like they make thousands of dollars out of this.
yeah, I
Am I
mean,
correct to assume that?
it really depends on what kind of business you're working with, right? If it's just a little local business, you're not always going to make a lot. Like I said, sometimes you will just get paid in products.
Right. But people that have like 1 million followers or 2 million followers.
you're way up there, I mean, people literally do that as a living. Like
Right. They make like thousands or probably sometimes like millions of dollars from this stuff, right?
yeah, it's very true. Like
See what people are, see what you're doing, people? you're, you're giving free money to these people that are not even real. They're probably just computer generated.
I don't know. I mean, it's wild. It's a wild life. So
It's crazy. I'm probably gonna. I'm like bitching about this, and I don't know. It's weird. I don't even know. But I appreciate you kind of stopping by and just talking to me. What was your event yesterday? You said there was an event that was going on.
Yeah, it was like I said before, it was the Whiskey's Jack's glass slipper opening. It was kind of like a soft opening. He has so many amazing pieces. Like he does the asymmetrical suits. I don't know if you've ever seen them. I can post a thing about it. But my boyfriend had just recently modeled in a runway for him, and I kind of tagged along, and then it ended up being kind of an audition and an interview to be a brand ambassador for him. He's like going through a process of trying to select people. I'm like, we find out tomorrow, fingers crossed. Where he's sponsoring people to go wear their suits and dresses at events, things like that.
That's cool.
It was really nice. Yeah. And he is right next to barbershop for his investor, and that is like such a cool place. It's such a cool vibe. It's like both of them together is really neat. So it's fun. I got to hang out with a lot of models and just listen to creative brains that are like just as passionate about the fashion industry as me. So it was really great.
That's fun. Well, where can people find you online? Don't put Instagram. No, I'm just kidding.
Free dance. All right, this is my new account. I don't have 1 million followers on it yet, but I'm hoping I will.
Say it again. What's the name of it?
D'Aprix Dance. So
D'Aprix Dance.
RIX Dance. So that's where like all my art stuff is. TikTok.
That's on Instagram, right? That's Instagram.
Yes.
D'Aprix Dance. Okay. Yeah. What's the TikTok one?
TikTok is Lynea D'Aprix, just spelled out is one word. But yeah, I really enjoy TikTok right now. I'm kind of like moving everything over there because like I said, it's a better vibe. And I've been getting I got up to 29,000 views on a video of mine. So it's picking up pace. So I'm kind of trying to move over there.
What do you do there? Like, is this a video one? What kind of videos do you do in TikTok?
So I'm turning mine into a photography and model TikTok, basically. So what I do is, say I was just going to the dollar store today. I take a video of me walking into the Dollar Tree, and then I take a video of me picking out flowers, and then I take a video of me setting up my backdrop, and then I say, here's how it was, and I show them the results. I post my images, and it's like, this is the process, this is the result.
That's cool.
People love that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been spread really well, and I've been doing a Black Lives Matter series, and that's really taken off. People are really loving that. I have developed some special effects makeup skills over quarantine, and I dug an American flag in one of my models, and people love that. That's been blowing up.
That's awesome. So TikTok and Instagram, is that it? Do they have a YouTube channel for videos, for music videos and stuff, or?
I don't. I did, but I ended up deleting it. It's just, there's so many platforms, right?
There is. That's absolutely correct. Yes.
So typically, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, I'm trying to hone in on.
Okay, that makes sense. Doesn't make sense. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming over. We had a great conversation about everything.
Thank you.
And I would definitely need to have you back when you're, especially when your photography takes off more as things open up. We should do one just about because Mike is a photographer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's been doing photography for 10 years now. So I think next time we do it, we definitely need to have him on so you guys can geek it out a little bit about photography.
Yeah, and I'm like a sponge, right? Anywhere I go, any person I talk to, I want to hear everything. Like,
Yeah, he has a lot of experience, and I love everything he does as far as creative work. So you guys will hit it off as far as like you're gonna love it because you guys can talk about geeky stuff, and I'll just sit here and try to talk about Instagram again. And like, well, why those models are making good money? No. But I appreciate you coming over and talking to me, and have a safe week, and hopefully things will go back to normal again. And if there's anything as far as like events or anything like that you want me to share, send it to me and I'll post it on this, and send me the link to that music video because I want to post it there so people can see it.
Yeah, I definitely will, especially when it comes time for that modeling event, because I just want to get it. I want to get out to as many people as possible. Like I said, when I was a young model, I spent so much money, and I want to do the opposite of that, right? I want to give people a condensed experience for a lot cheaper than what I paid for.
Yeah,
so
that's good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome.
And stay classy. Don't do anything that Instagrams would do. And that's awesome. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.